I really want to share a little bit about my journey with you and how it evolved into what has become the My Journey Journal. I'm very glad that you visited my website today to check out what this journal is all about, because I think it's something that you're really going to enjoy and something that's really going to feed into your life right now. So let's face it, 2020 has been an interesting year, and my year started off with a surprise surgery that I wasn't anticipating, and which led to an interesting journey to start my year, and then it's just evolved into a lot of learning about myself, a lot of our family going through a variety of changes. It's just been a very, very interesting year, and one that has really been a challenge, but I found a way through journaling that has helped, and I'm hoping that it'll help you as well. It's actually been a form of journaling that I have done for a few years now, and I've kind of come and gone from it, but I always find myself coming back to it and finding comfort there, and just finding just a place to be grounded. And I'm hoping that it'll do the same for you as well. So below this video, there is a link for you to download and print off your copy of the journal. So if you want to pause this video real quick and go and do that, that is great. And then come back, and then we can start working through, and I can explain it a little bit to you. It's pretty straightforward, but it might help if we work through it together. So the My Journey Journal has evolved over a variety of things. Long story short, years ago, about 5 years ago, I was in a car accident with my daughter. We were rear-ended by a drunk driver. And after that accident, I had a really bad concussion, and I couldn't finish a sentence. It was just blank. I would start to say something and then completely blank out and forget what I was saying. I couldn't spell things. I couldn't think through things. And it was really, really frustrating, because I started to think about, as my daughters were mid-teens at the time, I started thinking about all the things that I wish I would have shared with them and all the things I wanted to say. But now here we were, and I couldn't finish the sentence, and I was just like, if I ever get my brain back, I'm going to write all this down so that the girls know all these stories that I wanted to share, all these life lessons that I wanted to share, and how I have grown from, where I was in my younger years struggling with all the teenage things that they are struggling with, and how I grew up through my 20s and, marriage and all that type of thing, and then went on through the years. So there was just so much I wanted to share with them, and I promised I would start writing things down, so if anything ever happened to me, that they would be able to see what my journey was like. And that's kind of where the title all evolved from, was about my journey. And so a little backstory to the My Journey. One year I got a Christmas present from my family, and it was right here. It was a red Duotang. I'm like, why on earth did my family give me a red Duotang? And then I opened it up, and the title of it says My Journey. And it's a story about my great-grandparents and how they traveled from England to Canada to settle and with their family and to build a life here in Canada. And a little backstory, interesting fact before that, was my grandfather stood in line to buy tickets to board the Titanic. And by the time he got to the front of the line, the tickets were all sold out. So thankfully for me and my family, they were sold out of tickets, but it took them over a year before they were brave enough to travel on a boat again to cross the ocean to bring their family to Canada. And so in this Duotang is, I don't know if you can see this, but it is a copy of their journal. all the days they were on the ship, of why they left England and why they wanted to move to Canada, and what it was like for them to settle here, and um, they were known as immigrants at the time, and how difficult it was for immigrants to settle in Canada from England. So it's a very interesting read, and it's just things like that. That is something that is so precious to me, to know that part of my history and to see their struggles and what their journey was as they wanted to start this new life for their family. And so writing things down, putting pen to paper, is so important for future generations, because they say if we don't we don't learn from our mistakes, we're doomed to repeat them. So, but that's not all that what journaling is about. It's not writing about your mistakes. And as a teenager, you're writing your diary about, this and that, and crushes on whoever, but that's not really the purpose of what my journey journal is all about. It's about your journey. Life is a journey. It's a full of ups and downs and twists and turns, and it's all these lessons that we have, so we are not doomed to keep repeating certain things. But each lesson that we learn in life, whether it's a positive event or maybe a negative situation, it's all a part of growing our character. It's all about who we are becoming. And that's what your journey is all about. And those are the things that I wanted to teach to my daughters at that time, was what journey did I travel to get to where I am today? What has made me the person of character that I am today? And so that's where I started to write things down. Not only is writing things down, like putting pen to paper, very therapeutic, but like in some of my research that I found, it says that scientific evidence supports that journaling provides unexpected benefits. The act of writing accesses your left brain, which is analytical and rational. While your left brain is occupied, your right brain is free to create and feel. In sum, writing removes mental blocks and allows you to use all of your brain power to better understand yourself, others, and the world around you. And that's what I found through this, I guess, template of journaling that I have created. Because sometimes I sit down with a blank notebook and all I see is a blank piece of paper and I don't know what to write. And so what I wanted to do was to give myself a form of, like, even when I was having a hard time thinking because of my accident, I wanted to find a way that I could work through things in my life that I'm learning, but then show the progress. One of my favorite things to do is at the end of every year, I like to look back through my journals and see what journey my life has taken. Because it's when you're in the middle of a situation or a circumstance or whatever it may be, you can't really understand what's happening. But as you see the progress throughout the months or even sometimes years, you get to see, you have the ability to see how you have transitioned through all of that time. So that is what I wanted to do. So what we need to do is we just need to start putting pen to paper and to write things down. And we need to be honest about those things that we are writing down. One of the phrases that I like to say is, who are you in the dark? When no one is around and no one can see you, who are you? So different things that I wanted to incorporate in the journal was, creating an attitude of gratitude, of being grateful, of being expectant of great things to happen each and every day. My daughter had a really hard time when she was in younger grades. And one of the things that I read about, because at the end of the day, I would always spend time with my daughters. They would have mom time, each of them, separate rooms. I would go in and visit one, visit the second one, and they knew that they had specific time with mom every night. And so as I was with my oldest, I would go in there and she would be upset about different situations that happened that day, and she'd be telling me about them. And that's how she was ending her day, on a negative note. And one of the parenting books that I read about how you can help your children work through these things, they said, end the day on a positive note. So I would go in and ask her, what was your favorite part of the day? And it could be something small, it could be something significant, whatever it was. But by her having to sit there and think about that question, she would finish her day on a positive note, and which would help her in turn wake up and with a more of a positive attitude. And then what happened, I found, as time went on and she knew she was going to be getting that question at night from me, that she started looking for positives in her day. So instead of focusing on the negative situations that were happening at school, that she was actually looking for positives throughout her day, and it actually ended up helping through months of doing that process. So that is something that I learned. So it was something that I really wanted to see as something important for adding into this journal, because that's how I want to live my life. I want to live my life expectant for positive things to happen throughout my day. That even though it might be a negative experience, I know that there is something positive that can learn from it and that I can share about. So as I've spent time working through this journal, I have seen my perceptions on things change, and that is an amazing place to be. Instead of so many times we get to this place where it's like, I have to do this, and I have to make my family supper, or all these different I bet you can say 3 right now of things that you maybe even said already today. But what I've been finding is that by doing this exercise, and being dedicated to working through this journal, I have found that my have to's are now I'm turning into I get to. So if it's, instead of I have to make supper for my family, it's I get to make supper for my family. I get to create healthy meals for my family that are going to nourish them, that we get to sit down as a family and have a conversation and have a meal together, and that we are building into our family unit and our relationships through this act of eating supper together. So it's interesting how you start to change your perspective. Okay, so if you have your journal in front of you, I have mine. I just have, it's starting to fall apart. I've used it so much, but it is, I've just got these coil rings that I've just purchased from, I think, Staples or something. And so what I've done is I bought the punch so that I can put my journal inside. So, it's not gonna focus for me. But anyways, there we go. So there's my journal, and I have it all inside of here. So, as you work through it, you'll see I've created a bunch of different pages. So you can, write your name in there. My daughter's started learn all this calligraphy stuff off of Pinterest, so I'm gonna get her to write my name in there for me. So, and then you go through and, the welcome here page just gives you a little bit more information about journaling, getting started, it's being committed. Oh, the special thing here, I don't know if you guys have ever looked up Hygge on Pinterest or something, but go type it into the search on Pinterest and you will just love what you see. It is just taking time to pause, which is something that I'm finding is really important. I'm finding that just the act of taking a deep breath in and pausing for a moment and then releasing that breath has been so therapeutic for me in so many cases. Whether it's when I'm dealing with a situation at work, instead of feeling like I need to react right away, I just pause for a moment, and it does wonders for me. And that is just something that I have been intentionally doing for myself, but then it's also something that I am doing within my home as well. If you look at the different, I think, I don't know, if you look up like Hygge living and that type of stuff in Pinterest, you'll see about different ways that you can, just home decor and different things that you can do within your own family. So, we're just going to get into the questions here a little bit, and I'm just going to go over them briefly just so that you can just understand them a little bit more. I don't want to go into a whole bunch of stuff because I just want this to be a space for you to be creative on your own. And what's great about this journal is it's a weekly exercise. I can't do, there's like the 5-minute journal a day or whatever. I can't do that all the time. Sometimes I like to sit and I have time, but you know what? I carve out a spot. Usually my time is either Saturday mornings because everyone in my family wants to sleep in. So then I have that time by myself, or Sunday nights is when I like to do it. And I just carve out a time for myself, and I just grab my journal and I just sit there and I'm able to write and to build into myself. Sometimes I grab it more throughout the week as I think through different things and I'm like, I want to make sure I write that down. But what's great is as you start working through it week by week, you start thinking about it daily. So whether you write it down or whether you kind of remember it and then write it down all at once, then that's a different options for you. But it's a weekly exercise, and it's something that's going to totally build into you as you start working through it through the years. So through weeks, months, years. Okay, so I've already written in the dates for these ones. So you can just go to your week, and so you can write whenever you want in that week. And I've broken it down into different questions, and you just see the spaces there. So the biggest lesson I learned was, so what is something that you learned this week? We are always constantly learning. If you're not learning, you're not growing, and that's a sad place to be. So what did you learn this week? The next one is I invested time to. So did you invest time to make a good supper for your family where you could all sit down? Not a lot of families have that option to sit down. Now things are slower because of COVID in 2020, but what did you intentionally invest time to do? Did you sit down and spend time with your husband? Did you invest some time to sit and read with your child? What is it? Did you, make time to, call your parents or grandparents and invest time into family? People have realized how important family is throughout this year. And I think my dog might bark. And something else I heard the other day was that anybody who's at the end of life, they've never said, I wish I worked more. They always said that I wish I would have spent more time with my family. So think about what are things that you're investing in. Maybe you're spending in, some time, you went and got a facial, you went and got a massage, you invested in spending time for yourself. Something I've started doing this year, which I haven't done in a while, I read a book. I've spent so much time getting ebooks and that kind of stuff, or listening to audiobooks because I'm so busy doing other things, so I'll just listen to an audiobook. No, this year I actually have been buying books, and I sit down and intentionally put my phone away and put everything aside, and I sit and read. What an amazing opportunity that is, that I am choosing to invest that time in myself, and it's been good. Favorite part of your week was, so kind of like the question I asked my daughter when she was younger, what was your favorite part of your day? What is your favorite part of your week? What happened this week that encouraged you? And you know what's great about that question is some weeks when you're having a really hard week and you can't think of anything, you can flip back and see what was good in other weeks, and it just encourages your heart a little. Here's another one. I'm building into relationships in my life by. It's always... You know what? Our families see the worst of us. If we're going to be hard on someone, it's going to be to the people that we are closest in a relationship. It's the people that are in our family. So think about how you're building into them, because they tend to be the neglected part of our lives, which is unfortunate because they are the most important people in our lives. So how are you building into the relationships in your life? And I was inspired by, there's always inspiration, whether it's something you saw on Facebook or a YouTube video, or something you saw, a good deed you saw somebody do, or maybe a happy story you read, or whatever it may be, then that is your opportunity to write it in there. And it doesn't have to be one experience. If you had multiple experiences, write small or whatever you need to do to fit it all in this book. Okay. And then when you flip over the pages, we've got the, this week, my heart is grateful for. And that is a whole page where you can just write things down. This is usually, if I'm going to write during the week, that is where I'm going to be filling in, because that is where I am updating things about things that I'm grateful for. And it's great because once you start writing in there, then you start noticing more things within your day and within your life. The next one page is, I am thankful for dreams fulfilled. So this is where you're writing about things, being thankful for things that haven't happened yet. This is about writing your intentions. This is about writing, like if you had a vision board or something like that. It's those things that you want to see fulfilled in your life. Be thankful for them already. Like they've already happened. And then it's great how when you're writing these things that they just start to evolve and they start happening. So what's interesting is that what you're writing in this book right now, what you're writing in this space right now, if you look back in this space in a year from now, it'll be amazing how many check marks you can put beside the things that you've listed in that space. And then the next one is creating goals for yourself. So next week I will. So that is your opportunity in that space right there, is to write. Maybe you didn't do, we all have the burden of, I'm not doing well enough as a mom or as a wife. And a lot of times we're way too hard on ourselves. But if you see that maybe there was some weakness in the things that you did in this past week, next week, what do you want to do? Or maybe it's like, I want to make sure that I, maybe meet this person for coffee or give this person a phone call. Or next week, I want to send 3 encouraging text messages to friends. So it's just your next week. What are your goals? What are things when we start building into our lives and we get so excited about it and things start moving us in a positive direction that we're so excited that we want to share it with other people and we want to bless other people and we want to help other people. So that is your space to do that. So as you flip through and we get through to the end of November, and maybe you're thinking about Christmas already, but I know I've just been so excited. I love Christmas. My birthday's in December, so Christmas is always special time for me. I don't care that my birthday gets overlooked because of Christmas. I love Christmas. I love the feeling. I love the warmth. I love the environment. I love Christmas trees. I love the lights. Everything about it. So anyways, what I wrote here, before you start the month of December, maybe this is something you want to fill out right now, but I want you to ask yourself, what do I want this Christmas to look and feel like? So there it is right there. So as you're flipping through it, what do you want it to look like? As you're writing these things down, it's amazing how this will start to appear for your family and start to appear in your own life. So even though we have, different things around us, every place is different with how our governments are handling COVID, of how many people are allowed to have in our homes or what's closed and what's open. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Christmas isn't necessarily about that. That's about spending time with family and about building tradition and memories and legacies with your family. And so what do you want that to look and feel like? This is your space. Write it out. What do you want it to look and feel like? And then as we go into December, we have the same questions. And then what I've done is I did this journal last year, and it was interesting to look and see what I wrote for this for last year, what my goals and dreams were for 2020. So yeah, you just never know what's going to happen. So when you get to the end of it, then you have this spot for where it says 2020. So you know what? 2020 has had its ups and downs. And, even though I had to have surgery and stuff at the beginning of the year, it made me slow down. I had no choice. So before even COVID came in to Canada and made things slow down for me, I was already slowing down because I couldn't do anything very much at that time. And so I guess I can say that I'm thankful for that experience because it made me start to pause before I was forced to pause. So I was already being prepared mentally for what was coming. So I have a lot to be thankful for there. So first, describe your past year in 2 sentences. What was my greatest adventure? So, life is an adventure, life is a journey. What was your greatest adventure of 2020? What are the 3 things you're most grateful for? So, if you look, I gave you a whole page of gratitude space for each week. So, pulling only 3 things from your whole year. So, who inspired you the most and why? So, that is really interesting question because it makes you pause and think about what, and then you learn about what really inspires me. So if you think of who really inspired you and why, then it's really interesting to see, because usually that means that there's characteristics within you that you want to build. So 2021, what do I want to focus more on this year, and what do I want to achieve this year? And also in 2021, how can I improve my wellness journey this year, which is a journey in all of itself. And what do I hope to say about 2021 when it's over? So I have given you this free journal just to work through and to work on and to build into yourself. This has been a difficult year, but you know what? Just by taking a little bit of time out for yourself each week will be incredible to see how this builds into you. This has been really important in my life, and I have seen the positive growth within myself. And so this is just something, usually I charge for all of these journals, but this is my gift to you right now because it has been an interesting year, and I want to see us finish 2020 well. There is no reason why we shouldn't be able to finish 2020 well. Whatever, and maybe you've had an absolutely awesome year and so much to be thankful for, then write it out. And you know what I even thought about as I've been writing in these journals throughout the years? I have, whether I'm having a good week or a blah week or whatever it may be, then, this is something, when I'm gone and my daughters find these journals, I want them to see my journey. I want this to be my legacy. That they saw, whether I was having a bad day or a good day, of the things I was thankful for, whether it included them, whether it didn't. Like, what an amazing opportunity for them to find this. I see it as a treasure for them if they find these journals after I'm gone. So I just, please download it. Please spend a little bit of time each week. The first few weeks, it's going to be difficult kind of as you're thinking and processing each of the questions. But it comes easier, and I can't believe how quick I could do it now. It's almost disappointing now. I'm writing them and they're done already, because now that I've asked myself the same questions weekly, I'm starting to think about them more often throughout the week. So I'm already basically answering the questions before I get to sit down and answering them. And which is good. It's a blessing. It's so helpful for my heart that I am already seeing about, how am I building into the relationships in my life? What am I grateful for this week? This week wasn't so good because I was too busy with X, Y, and Z. But next week, I am intentionally going to spend more time with, my daughter or my husband. And so right now, I'm going to schedule a date for next week with my husband. So it is incredible. And this, I think, will totally build into your life. I am already creating journals for 2021. So if you can, there's right below where you can download the video, there is a box where you can fill out to join the email list. And if you are interested in continuing on this journey with this journal in 2021, please fill out that email spot, and I will let you know as soon as it is available, because I think this is going to be really beneficial for you. And as I am working through this and I continue to grow through it, I keep adding to the journal, and it is, it's only getting better and better as I keep developing it and as it grows and as I keep working through it myself. So thank you for watching this video. May you be just encouraged, deep within your soul through what you are working through in this journal. Share the link with your friends, anybody who could be encouraged. Maybe even, print it off and stick it in a stick it in a red duotang and and give it to a friend that may need this as well right now. So it is yours. It's free to share with anyone who needs it these days. So yeah. If you and you know what? After you spend November and December working through this journal, if you could send me an email, contact me on my contact page, and just let me know how it goes. I am so interested to see how this journal just works in people's lives, and I would be so happy to receive an email for you. So please do that for me, and I hope to see you back and with the 2021 journal. Thanks.